Pleasure meeting you all. Again, I think last time was 1 year ago, roughly. So yeah, David from Surf, CEO at Surf. Surf is a B2B prospecting company from Paris. We started as a LinkedIn to CRM connector. Basically, if you find a prospect on LinkedIn with one click in our extension, you could add this prospect to the CRM like HubSpot and further enrich it. We established a waterfall, like basically pulling data from 20 different providers. We've worked since last year on our own platform. So going from an extension to our own platform, which is basically a smarter Sales Navigator. You can search for accounts, contacts, enrich them in the same go with these 20 data providers, and it's synced to your CRM. So you can add them or enroll them in a HubSpot sequence, for instance. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Also, a little outlook to what we are building currently, which is our recommendation engine. That means we analyze the CRM and then, for instance, support different use cases. Like one is lookalikes. So we find similar accounts to your CRM companies. And that's what I'm going to show today as well. So once again, happy and sorry for the delays, but happy to see you all. Yeah.
Yes, thanks everyone for joining in. So today's agenda will be cut a bit short. Usually we have some more startup time, but given the fact that we have 40 minutes left, that's exactly also what we want to cover today as the meat of the episode, finding B2B leads in the database, enriching them and syncing them to HubSpot, where you can also kickstart, for instance, sequence enrollment and the sync of chats. David, take the screen and walk us through what you've built with Surf.
Yeah, perfect. Now I think I can share the screen. And this one. All right, so everyone should be able to see my screen, I guess, now. Yeah, perfect. Just maybe as a reminder for everyone who doesn't know our LinkedIn to CRM connection. So for instance, I don't know, when I go on the profile, let's go on Antoine from our sales team.
Still have the meeting chat open. It's a little bit on the screen.
Yeah, sorry.
Doesn't matter too much, but okay, yeah.
So basically, that's the LinkedIn extension, right? We show it directly. He highlighted in blue who's in your CRM, who's not. You can add from here. So Antoine is already in my CRM and enriched. You could add a contact. If you don't have the contact details, you can enrich it here, and we run it through a waterfall. So basically, as you can see here, 20 different tools are searching now for his company email and for his phone number. Yeah, so that's how we basically got to our first now 30,000 users actually since recently. And that's what we worked on the last 4 years. So you see here, we found the email thanks to Find My Mail in this current cascade. And from here, you could enroll him in a HubSpot sequence or whatsoever. Yeah, this is the extension. Today, I really want to show you how our new ICP Finder works, which is our own platform. So we can again move from LinkedIn because I want to, for instance, find similar companies to serve. And then we switch over to our own platform. And you see now here, that's the first use case where I have similar companies like Surf. That means similar size, similar ARR stage, similar kind of industry. You have a lot of demographic data here. You see, for instance, all the technologies these different companies here use. You see different keywords you can use, for instance, for later outbound. So a lot of industry data and demographic data. You can from here then further specify the search. Let's say, I don't know, I only want to have results in France. I can run the search again. And now I get all the accounts in France. I have 17 similar companies like Surf in France. I can even switch to the people tab. So I could also perform the same in a people search. I now have all the different people working in these companies. I can further specify on job titles, for instance, seniority, whatsoever. We work with ChatGPT in the background. So you can type in AE, for instance. You can type in people in procurement or whatsoever. So really a conversational UI. But let's stay on the accounts. Let's say, for instance, I want to prospect into Phantom Buster. You can also prospect into many companies at the same time and create a list, but let's just, for the sake of the demo, I want to prospect into Phantom Buster. I can select them all. Now create a list. For instance, I don't know, Phantom leads. I created that list and edit it now here. So you can find it here, Phantom leads. And now I have these 10 profiles. I can select them all and find now all their emails and mobiles. Same principle as on the extension. It now runs through a lot of different providers in a cascade to really have a high accuracy for email and mobile phones. So in this current cascade, there is 10 different tools. It's Find My Email, Prospeo, People Data Labs, Forager, Visa, Lead Magic, Apollo, Rocket Reach, and many, many more. And you see the result is quite accurate, right? So we have now from 10 people we've enriched, actually just 2 blind spots here, or 3 blind spots, and found like the emails and mobile phone numbers for the rest, while it's actually still running. And what I can do from here is select them all and add them, for instance, to HubSpot. So I click here, in this corner, you see Add to HubSpot, and now all of these profiles are getting added to HubSpot. So that's really the new platform which we are launching. You can basically from here decide, hey, let's go and prospect on LinkedIn, like I showed from the beginning. Hey, let's identify target accounts, like I showed you here. You can just type in any company name or similar companies. You can also list different names, or if connected to the CRM, we even show you kind of and suggest you to look out for some companies. Or if you have a CSV, we also do that. Just drop the CSV and we find the right personas for your right accounts in that CSV. All fairly simple. When you, for instance, let me go back maybe to a search. I don't know. Let's go back here to, oops, maybe surf. I don't know. Oops, that was it. And I go back to this account. What was it? Phantom Buster, right? I can see that these people, so I can also add them technically from here and enrich them from here if you want, instead of creating a list. But you see now everywhere here is a little HubSpot logo, right? So when I go in HubSpot, with one click, you see we've added the contact, we've kind of filled out all the email, and I have a phone number, I have like a custom setup, and all the info about the account, Phantom Buster in this case. It was literally 3 clicks. You can build a very customized prospect list based on lookalike search. You can further specify in these accounts to personas and then enrich them with the waterfall and add them in one click to HubSpot. What you could do from here is you can add them also in a sequence. It's just in beta yet and not launched for everyone. So that's why I'm going to show you it here. But the same principle, you have that list. You can click all and add them then basically to HubSpot sequences. And then you can select a step, okay, add them to email. And that's my first step in my sequence. And then you see they're currently in the first email step, and then it sends out the sequence.
Great. David, question.
Yeah.
Can you also enroll them into later sequence steps?
Yes, of course.
Okay, interesting.
You can really choose from here then basically in a drop-down what step you want to enroll them. Same principle, we already offer that for the one-to-one profile on LinkedIn, but here it will be also available in a list format.
Okay, so in terms of applicability, let's say that, for instance, on the second day you have a phone call and you don't want to lead with email, but rather send a phone call task to, for instance, an SDR, BDR, and HubSpot, then the lead would enter the sequence in that second step.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's great. That's more control over how they are enrolled.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, that's it basically. You saw it's fairly simple. It was very quick. So you can build your lists. We use it from 20 different providers. So actually more data than on Sales Nav. You can find and enrich it and then enroll it and add it to HubSpot. So 3 clicks. I know it was pretty quick, but you saw the immediate effect. Before, you need to have different tools. You need to have a Sales Navigator. You need to build that list. You need to have another tool for scraping Sales Navigator. You need to have another tool for enriching, finding the email and the phone. So there's so many different more steps. Fairly simple now in 3 steps, which I don't know, has been done before in 10 to 15 steps, right? Yeah.
Yeah, all from within the same platform.
Always in the same platform,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's also interesting to look at is the message syncing functionality that you have.
So yeah, that's basically on our LinkedIn extension side, right? So what you can do is you can enable auto sync of messages. So let's go, for instance, I don't know, to our chat. I hope it's not so private, our chat. No, event page live, okay. You can see here, I can use a template, for instance, first of all. So we have a lot of different templates, taking a lot of different kind of placeholders. And I can sync also our chat, what you can see here. And when I click on sync and enable it for the first time, it gets automatically synced. Every time we just continue our conversation, it automatically gets synced to HubSpot in this case. Oops, discard this message. So for instance, when I now go into HubSpot, I see now here the last conversation with Wouter, basically synced in my HubSpot. Yeah.
Yeah, what I find, so there, the other option to sync HubSpot and Sales Navigator is through the expensive license on the Sales Navigator side. So you would need the Advanced Plus license and a HubSpot Sales Pro license for that. So that's quite hefty on both sides. And it doesn't even allow the full sync. So for anyone that is on HubSpot and wants to sync not just data, but also messages to from LinkedIn to HubSpot, this is a great and a way better way to do it than having to go for that full license.
Yeah. So we are basically a third of the price. We have more data. We have the enrichment within our own platform as well. We have more capabilities like the sync to CRM, and it's better connected to your CRM like HubSpot. So I think Sales Nav Advanced costs $150 roughly. So our prices starts at 29. Yeah. So I think that's the benefit you see, our customers see. And yeah.
Yeah. What I also really like, another feature that I myself use a lot is to have some quick view properties on, for instance, the company record from HubSpot. I don't know if you have an example of that. If not, I can also show it on the screen.
Yeah, show an example. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Okay, so taking a few minutes to load this up.
Yeah, while you're loading this up, for everyone, if you want to access the ICP Finder, so either go on our website or you type in app.surf.com/ICP Finder, and we give away free credits to start. As said, it's fairly new, so we work currently on a lot of feedback basis. So if you need something, if you see something, there's a bug or whatever is not working, please let us know. And yeah, just play around with it. You can type companies, whatever. Let's say, for instance, HubSpot. You can type more than one company, start a lookalike search, and you see it's very accurate. We find here Salesforce, for instance, Zoho as a CRM company, right? In a similar sizes. And then you can even say, okay, I want to have for HubSpot on the people side, let's say only, I don't know, for the lookalikes, account executives, right? Run the search again, and then you get all the people at different companies being account executives, for instance. Yeah, and you can basically run that search as detailed as you want. What I often like is really the technologies, because you see here on the left screen, we have so many technologies. So there's normally different tools like Build With or others, and you see how rich this is to further specify a search. Yeah,
Nice.
I think play around, let us know, and hopefully you find some great accounts to go for next. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a question from Jerome. He asks, what is the risk that LinkedIn blocks your extension?
So for us, we don't do any automation on LinkedIn. So we don't, for instance, send sequences because the risk is always when you do robotic behavior on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
then you don't appear like human because you click yourself too fast through different pages and scrape data. We are really doing or mimicking user behavior. So for instance, maybe let's go another profile. You just see here Koen, for instance. Koen is not in my CRM. I just can add him to HubSpot with one click at the head of Benelux of Personio in this case. And then we start again the enrichment here. As you can see, we add the contact to HubSpot. We don't kind of populate any automatic things like email or whatsoever, or message sequencing on LinkedIn. And that's why we play with the LinkedIn police in this case, and don't risk your account of getting banned. Because that's mostly because of unsuspicious behavior, and unsuspicious behavior is mostly because of automatic robot behavior on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything with a robotic nature is most likely to invoke such a response from LinkedIn as a platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Jerome says, thank you for the explanation. We're going to take a look at some of the quick view properties that I myself use on a daily basis. Gonna take the screen.
Yeah.
We're looking at, as an example, the HubSpot company record here on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And what you can see here from Surf is the additional fields. And these are HubSpot properties that live on, in this case, the company record. So the advantage is that either here, if you already have it pre-populated in HubSpot, you can immediately see it on the record. So you don't have to go back to HubSpot and try to find what are the most important properties for you to view. So this is all customizable, right, David? You can put extra properties here, as you can see on the record.
Yeah,
There's
this
also,
view is
yeah,
really on a company level, on a people person profile level, like I showed before. You can really customize the view and what fields you want to show from HubSpot and straight edit from there. It's two-way sync, so it automatically gets updated in HubSpot as well. Yeah.
yeah. And it's great because sometimes you are doing your account research. Let's say you found one of the ICPs using the platform and you want to do a deeper dive. You go into Sales Navigator on the record. You find out certain things by, for instance, reviewing the website. So for me as an ABM guy, to have an idea about the prospect's ACV or the ACV range is important. And I can sometimes find it by looking at their pricing. So since I'm doing the account research on the Sales Navigator record, I can immediately fill out that data here. I don't have to go to HubSpot, open up the record, which you can, by the way, still do, right? You still have the shortcut button here that brings you to the record. But if you don't need to be on the HubSpot record in that instance, you can fill it out from here. And you have the assurance that it's already on the record in HubSpot the next time you take a look. So I find that a very practical way of using HubSpot properties together with Sales Navigator. And you can add in any properties, also custom properties. So for instance, ABM fit is not a default HubSpot property. It's a property that I created. You can also add those as an additional field.
Yeah.
Anything to add here, David, on this functionality?
Not really. I mean, what you also can do and play around here is with some custom HubSpot setups. So for instance, you could also, I mean, we have before people like when they have a certain automation setup in HubSpot with different kind of fields, and you can add this field that kicks off this automation in HubSpot, like a custom HubSpot workflow. You can add them here as well. Some people do that to
Yeah.
kick off this automation.
I see where you're going. So for instance, let's say that there is a property that you have a HubSpot workflow and it says if this property has a value, then
Yeah,
start this workflow. And if you include that property here on the record and give it a value, you would start a workflow in HubSpot from the Sales Navigator record.
exactly. A lot
That's
of our users do that with, for instance, value or drop down and then they kick off their customized HubSpot workflows from there.
Yeah, great example. To make it practical, I, for instance, could have a workflow that sends a notification to the sales rep as soon as I've identified a tier one account.
Yeah.
And simply by filling that out and populating the property in HubSpot, that workflow would be fired off to the sales rep to follow up or do account research. Because that's very often what I have with clients who run ABM on the biggest tiered accounts with the highest ACV, with the highest order value, is you want to do account research on those. What do I mean by account research? It is, for instance, creating an organogram of the organization in HubSpot. Right? This is what we do for our bigger accounts. So you could very much trigger a task to a sales rep to do this in HubSpot just from the Sales Navigator record. So that's a great use case, David. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. We have also on our kind of, if you type in serve HubSpot workflow or something like this, just on a Google search or on our webpage, we have also a few blog articles from power users who enable different workflows. So yeah, just look into that, and maybe it can give you some inspiration, or you can use it for your own.
Yeah, I think, and the main takeaway there is you can have a property on the Sales Navigator record, and that property can be used to trigger anything in HubSpot if you're on the pro license, guys. So marketing or sales automation, pro license. Let's take a look at some other questions that are coming in. Gottfried, companies are coming in our setup from ERP. What is the identifier not to create a second company record, domain/website?
Yeah. So yeah, we have different identifiers. So we go for domain website. Yes, we also go for LinkedIn URL, for instance. If all these things fail, then we go for first name, last name, and company on a person profile. And yeah, I think that's it. But then we cut it, because then it's difficult to match actually. But yeah, we do domain website, LinkedIn URL, and then first name, last name, company. Yeah.
Yeah. In HubSpot, the most common unique identifier is the domain URL usually.
Yeah.
And guys, if you're running into duplicates, because sometimes that happens, we recommend using this tool here. It's a bit of a sidestep, but it's good to answer this question. Qualify is a great way to deduplicate HubSpot records. So David already mentioned the way to not completely have that happen, but sometimes it occurs. And then this you can find this in the HubSpot marketplace for a zero duplicate policy, if that is what you have as an ambition.
What we also do is, let's go back on the LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
if, for instance, all the things I've mentioned before failed, and it's kind of the wrong contact here, for instance, the wrong Antoine Farouz, the same goes, by the way, with company record, we still have here on the 3 dots to basically relink that record. So you can do it manually if you see it failed, and then you look basically through my HubSpot here for Antoine Farouz, and then you just pick the right Antoine Farouz and you relink this record. So that's the manual kind of help we do. If all these instances, domain, website, LinkedIn URL, first name, last name, company name, seems to fail, then you can do it and do it manually here to relink. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this indeed. That's a good one. We
Cool.
have a question from Jerome. Which HubSpot subscription is needed to be able to take the most out of Surf?
Honestly, like, we don't require any LinkedIn specific kind of plan. We don't require any HubSpot specific plan. I mean, if you want to do the sequences, I think the sequences come with the bit higher HubSpot Sales Hub, if I'm not mistaken. So then you would require this. Otherwise, just standard, even free version. Yeah.
Yeah, even the free CRM version. A few years ago, for my consultancy business, I also started off with free CRM. And as soon as I learned about Surf, I started integrating that, and it was all running on the free version. So there's no limitations whatsoever. I can personally testify to that.
Yeah.
The HubSpot subscription that will help you make the most out of it is Sales Pro, because you will have access to the sequences as described by David. Let's take a look at some other examples on the HubSpot Sales Pro licensing that will really help you get the most out of Serve and HubSpot. So we talked about finding these leads and then enriching them and sending them into HubSpot. So here we have an example on a target account. This is HubSpot Sales Pro functionality. So on the target account overview, you can assign buying roles. So especially if you do a more account-based motion where you're zooming in on a set of accounts and you really want to have a complete overview, the account overview gives you that functionality and you can determine the buying roles. So this is a great way to identify, do I have all the stakeholders from my typical DMU in that account? You can take it a level further and look at the organogram for that DMU. So we were looking at this before. What happens is, see, I have all these contacts here in the HubSpot CRM, all HubSpot contacts. I brought them in via the Serve extension by syncing. So that's a great way to combine HubSpot Sales Pro and Serve, bring the contacts in, assign the buying roles, and then use Org Chart Hub. This is a marketplace app also, same as Qualify, to build your organograms. You don't want to do this for all your accounts, but your top accounts, dream list accounts, where you want to give them the white glove treatment. So if you look at ABM, right, where you flip the funnel and you start working with target companies, this is what you want to do for your bigger accounts in HubSpot. If your annual contract value, your deal size there justifies it. So that's a great 1-2 between Serve and HubSpot that I use on a daily basis. And sequences is another one. So for the people that do not fully know about sequences, what you can do is have a sequence of actions varying from calls, emails, but also LinkedIn actions, as you can see here, email tasks or connection request tasks. And you can enroll people into the sequence, as David showcased earlier, directly now from Sales Navigator using Serve. This is still in beta, I think, right, David? But this will be rolled out soon.
Yeah, also from standard LinkedIn, not only Sales
Yeah.
Navigator you can add, but also standard LinkedIn.
Good addition.
From LinkedIn, you can already add them into a sequence. From our kind of own platform, this is in beta, and this will be possible soon, so that you can also have a full list and add the full list to a sequence, instead of one by one from a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, great addition. And if we look at the context of finding the B2B leads, what you want to do is, especially in an account-based motion, have a predefined list of target accounts. And it's sometimes hard to find these accounts. And using the Serve database, especially on lookalike, right? So what is a good tactic? Look into your CRM. What are some of the deals that I closed? I'm not going to show all of that data because it's a bit, there's some private data in there. But what you want to do is analyze your closed won deals. Look at the ones with the highest deal value, longest lifetime value, and then use lookalike functionality that you have in Serve, David, to find more of those accounts.
Yeah, exactly. And I show the lookalike just for kind of then prospecting into one account, right? But you can also do like it for 20 accounts and create a list for 20 different accounts. Just click on select all, right? So that's no problem. Also, what I can show, because we just showed the beta which is coming out soon, but just for everyone that we kind of rounded it up, the sequences is also possible from LinkedIn directly, right? So I enriched here Antoine's profile, found his email, and now I can add him to HubSpot sequence. As said, I can add it to any sequence. So this is a demo account here now, obviously. But yeah, whatever. Just for the sake, let's choose this one, signups, and then you see it got enrolled into the sequence and is now in HubSpot sequence. I think when I should refresh, then it should be showing the different steps I'm currently having. Yeah, no, it's not showing here. Okay, maybe it was a wrong sequence, but normally it should show up. So maybe that's a demo effect. but you saw just one click, add to a sequence. And then normally you have here a little view in what step of the sequence the profile is currently in. Yeah.
Yeah, great. What I also really like is the ability to schedule a task directly from the Sales Navigator or just the regular LinkedIn record. Really useful because sometimes you are prospecting, you are having a conversation with someone, and what you want to do is, for instance, you might want to say to your BDR, if you're an account executive, hey, look, I want you to follow up on this or put something in for yourself.
Yeah.
That really is, maybe you can show that as well, David, how to create a task quickly
Yeah.
from.
So basically here I clicked on task and I see also all the recent tasks here showing up as well. So for instance, now, I don't know, send a birthday card because his birthday is on the 21st of January, is a to-do, and I can assign it to whomever from the team. Let's pick me. And then I create this task in HubSpot, and now it's in HubSpot and I see, okay, it's due in more than 3+ days. So not so due, but yeah, have here an overview of all my HubSpot tasks. I would have to Antoine. I can also switch and see basically all tasks, can tick them off and whatsoever. Yeah. Also one more thing I think, which is quite interesting, because I showed you find similar accounts, right? So, I mean, we are here now in a webinar for ABM, but if you want to find similar profiles, you can do the same from LinkedIn. You just find, like, for instance, Antoine, I want to find more AEs at companies like Surf. And then you can click on find similar profiles. And then you see we kind of auto-filled the search. So it's Surf to find lookalike accounts, and it's for AEs. And then you see again, Drop Contact, Wizard, which are all in France, Casper, and we have a list of AEs at these different companies, right? So it's pretty accurate. And then you can again select all, create a list, enrich them, and then basically add them to a sequence, AE, France, account outreach, or whatsoever. Yeah.
So this is lookalike on the contact level.
On the contact level, exactly.
Yeah, great. I didn't even know about this one. So that's a very good addition.
I didn't know as well that it's already live, which I just
Your team is shipping fast.
Exactly, and I was afraid, like, hopefully it already works, but as you see, it works super fine.
It looks smooth.
Yeah.
So especially if you maybe a bit more on the higher volume mid-market, you run outbound motions, then finding lookalike profiles like this, very valuable tactic as well. So great to see that.
Yeah.
What I myself find handy in an ABM motion, but can also be for any kind of motion, is default properties. So what happens here when I sync is anytime that I sync a company record, the HubSpot property target account is automatically set to true. And this is handy in an ABM motion because I know that whenever I go into Sales Navigator and sync a company into HubSpot, that for me, per definition, is a target account, always. So what this allows you to say, every time I sync, I want this property to be filled with that. That's what you can do with this on the back end with default properties. So I know that every time I sync, target account is being set to true. And then I can look, for instance, I can go to my company overview and create views here. This one, for instance, says all my, I want to see all my tier 1 target accounts. And one of the filters is the target account property that we just looked at. And this enables me to make sure that my lists in HubSpot are immediately updated with the accounts I bring in from LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. The default property is setting, very useful if you want to automatically always populate the same property when you sync.
Yeah, here again, some of our clients use it with HubSpot workflows. So for instance, directly set a property when you've added a contact from LinkedIn to a certain value, and then it directly kicks off HubSpot workflow, which could be even a sequence, right? So sending a first email That's also how some of our clients use it. So that they ensure every time an AE or SDR or whatsoever just adds a contact from LinkedIn, it goes into a LinkedIn sequence and an email got sent.
Yeah, that's a great one. So filter criteria could be target account. If you bring it up from the company object, you can select any property here that you have on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator and from Surf to kickstart that workflow.
Yeah.
So that could also be a list membership, right? So let's say you're exporting manufacturing companies and putting them into a manufacturing list using one of these properties. You can then use that to also to trigger workflow. So you can be very creative with this, a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Again, you would need HubSpot Sales Pro to have that level of automation. So that also ties back into the earlier question. No further questions coming in yet. We had quite a few deep dive questions already, so that was good. Is there anything in particular, David, that you would want to share with everyone watching? What is on the roadmap? Some other use cases that you know about that are good?
Yeah, so what's on the roadmap? As I showed you the lookalike search, what soon will come that it will basically has a first starting screen when you connect to your HubSpot instance. We basically run through all your existing accounts and analyze, and then see for you like what's the lookalike companies you should go for. Then we basically rank them from the highest to the lowest. Which we are going to add here is on the enrichment side, next to the firmographic enrichment and contact enrichment, we're adding an intent and insight enrichment. So meaning first we rank them for highest lookalike, then we further rank them based on intent and insight. So maybe these accounts are in market currently, right? Then you should prospect them into, so we're going into more recommendation things, more opinionated things. With the platform, I think that's super exciting to come soon. Yeah, so I think that's what I can share for the moment. And I can ensure the team is working hard on this, and it's super cool to see that so many things get shipped recently. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And playing into the intent, which seems to be a hot topic for everyone nowadays in B2B, especially ABM.
Yeah.
It's that's great. So we're looking forward to that. For everyone that wants to start with Surf today or soon, scan this code here. Go to David's LinkedIn profile if you want to learn more, have a chat. If you want to learn more about ABM, HubSpot, how to connect the two tools, you can reach out to me, book a meeting. I will happily answer any of your questions. So yeah, that's a few next steps should you want to take them. Anything from your David, from your side? Maybe you have some educational content that we can direct the people to.
Not really. I mean, on YouTube, there's a lot of educational content. Just follow us on YouTube, surf.com, or then you go to YouTube at the end of the page. Yeah, and I think test the ICP Finder and give us feedback, how you like it, what you're missing, what could we add, how could we improve. But I think that's it. So at the end, hopefully, we covered, I know, quite quickly, but you saw how easily it works. But with Surf, especially with the new platform, you can now find the right accounts and leads based on 20 different sources of data, right? So quite a big database of B2B, enrich them in one go on the contact level side, sync them in one click to HubSpot, all of them coming next. Also one click, enroll them into a sequence. Yeah, I think that's it. So thanks a lot for having us and showing what's next for Surf.
Yeah, super cool. Really good to do a deep dive like this. Very practical. We'll make sure to share this with everyone afterwards. When you have more updates coming in on the intent side, we'll definitely do another one.
Yeah.
We had over 80 people signing up for this one. So there's definitely an interest in the topic of B2B leads sourcing and
Nice.
syncing.
And it will be the same also waterfall, but with different intent and insight providers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's very great to add. Thanks, guys, from Jerome. Thank you for joining, Jerome, and all the others. Gottfried, thank you as well, Johnny. And yeah, keep an eye out for the next one in a few months. We'll do another update.
Perfect. Thanks,
Okay.
Wouter. Everyone
Thank
have a
you,
good
David.
one. Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
all.